Aw, he ain't no threat. Bet I could fix him up smart.
Searching for repair bay. Error. Navigation systems failed. Unable to comply.
I could probably fix that. I mean, if you wanted me
to. Sure, go ahead.
Yep, I see the problem. His nav mod got dislodged. Must have taken a tumble. Just gotta give it a good push and wait for the click. There we go. Jeremy's good as new. Well, new by Spacer's Choice standards anyhow. His name's Jeremy, by the by.
Navigation systems operational. Optimal path toward repair bay detected. Initiating self-diagnostics.
Pravati, why did you name the mechanical?
On account of I fixed him. And he's Jeremy on account of his helmet. It's like Jeremy, the officer in True Romantic Tales of the Space Guard.
Is that an Aetherware cereal or something?
Surely. I make a point to watch every Tuesday night. Be more careful out there, Jeremy.
Alright, well, I guess we're done here.
Bring us honor, soldier.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about that scout anymore.
You beat that scout to scrap with its own legs? Pulled its optic cables out its head case?
Well...
Don't tell me. Rather use my imagination. You're a passing fair soldier, I will confess. But you are one, and the enemy is legion. What you need is an equalizer, a weapon to strike fear in their cold mechanical hearts.
Go on.
Cantina, lavatory, behind one of the toilets. That's where I've kept it hidden all these years.
You hid your secret weapon in a lavatory.
Sharp, ain't it? The lavatory is the very last place a mechanical has need to enter.
Sure. Alright, well, I'll let you know if I find it.
On the double, soldier. Don't want the bartender poking around in there with a mop.
No, we certainly don't want that.
Bring us honor, soldier.
I found that package you mentioned.
Feast your eyes, soldier. This here is a genuine Spacer's Choice injury customizing unit, designed to deliver a lethal blast of electrical discharge. I call it the Hand of the Law. You ever want to see a mechanical flailing around like a grounded fish? You stick a couple thousand volts in its guts. With compliments from old Ludwig.
And how do I use this injury customizing unit exactly?
There's a workbench right through this door. Attach that unit to your favorite weapon and go forth into glorious battle. Time's come for you to journey down into the black heart of the enemy's camp. I'm talking about the old geothermal plant.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, the old plant lies outside my board-given jurisdiction. You'll need to get a passcode from the boss, Reed Thompson.
Already have that.
I've been after a passcode for years. Boss said no on account of my gross incompetence with all matters related to security.
Well...
I need you to get us the brain of a mechanical. Well, not exactly a brain. Anatomically speaking, what we're looking for is a logic module.
And how am I supposed to get one of those logic modules?
There's the rub. If a mechanical breaks down, the logic module fries. So you can't rip one out of its corpse. You're going to have to find an intact model somehow.
Pravati, is a logic model something you could help with?
I don't reckon so. I work with gears and pistons and such. Stuff you can put hands to. Computers and mechanical brains are outside my ken.
You know, she names the mechanicals she fixes. Calls them Bess and Clancy and so on. You keep a careful eye on her. Could be a sympathizer.
Sure. So, what exactly are you planning?
Don't tell anyone, all right? I've got a contact. A real expert in the inner workings of the automaton. We are gonna rip those mechanical secrets right out of their circuits.
A contact? Edgewater is in the middle of nowhere. You don't have a contact.
Well, excuse me. What I meant was I'm going to get a contact. Didn't know I had to be all prissy about my grammar around you.
Alright, well, Seems simple enough, I guess.
If you die horribly, I will pour out a can of 0G to your memory.
Thanks. I'll let you be. Is this it? What? I just got the letter today. Corporate ordered me to relocate to the Edgewater Cannery, effective immediately. It's a shame. I was really looking forward to running my own gift shop at the community center, selling rare memorabilia. But scripture tells us that all things happen for a reason. Work fortifies the spirit and all. As for my book collection, I can't bear to part with it. Don't want those books moldering in some contraband locker. So I stashed them all away in a cave over by the river. Great.
Okay, here we go!
Wow! You put those marauders in the dirt quicker than the masked marketeer. Teach me your ways.
You sound confused, or possibly unscrewed. Are you alright?
Only thing unscrewed around here is the head of that marauder you took down. Never seen moves like that outside my serial dramas. You, on the other hand, you were a sight to behold. If I had half your skills, I'd be the greatest outlaw the coast has ever seen.
Can you clarify something for me?
I'm great at clarifying.
Are you from Edgewater?
I got kicked out of Edgewater on account of falling sick with plague and stealing some medicine to treat myself. I'd heard some outlaws set up camp in the botanical labs. I decided to throw in with them, seeing as I always wanted to be an outlaw myself. Instead, what do I find? But a bunch of former workers camped out around a greenhouse. I couldn't just go back to the cannery, so I was stuck with them.
Are you a prisoner here?
No. I insinuated myself into their company, see? And they didn't seem to mind one whit.
How'd you pull that off?
I may have bartered them a few boxes of Adrena time, but yeah, I'm sure that's got nothing to do with it.
There's something else, actually.
I've got all the time in Halcyon.
I'll be back. Alright, let's see. Oh, looks like we found it. The hell? Oh.
Everyone all right?
Get him out of here. Here we go. Alrighty then.
I swear.
Move along, stranger. We don't want any trouble.
Hello?
I don't know you. Whatever you're looking for, it ain't here. Move along.
I'm looking for Adelaide. I need some answers.
Answers, huh? You must be one of those philosophicals. Already got ourselves one of those.
Reed said something about former workers living out in the wilderness.
Yeah, that's us. And you can tell Thompson we're doing just fine by ourselves. If you're gonna start wandering around my camp, know that I got my sights on you.
Alright. Well, where can I find Adelaide?
Over in the hothouse, tending crop. Enough with the questions. No offense, but I've got a lot on my mind.
Yeah, you and me both. Trouble with marauders?
You don't know what enough with the questions means? No, I'm sorry. That was unworthy of me. Lady named Zoe went missing some nights ago. Just up and vanished without a trace. Now I'm pacing around wondering if marauders got to her.
Zoe. She wouldn't happen to be upbeat and a little strange and loves Rizzos? 'Cause I met someone of that description, and she was in a marauder camp.
Thank the Eternal. Wait, marauder camp? Is she alright?
You mean the head, or...?
Zoe's family. Chiding her is our purview, not yours. If you could bring her home, I'd be obliged. And if you could cross off some marauders on the way, I'd be much obliged.
I've got some questions about Zoe. I've got a lot of questions about Zoe.
I'll tell you what I can.
How well do you know her?
Well enough to know we never got on. Zoe and Stefan were close. If anybody knows the workings of her mind, he does.
Stefan. Alright. Well, you seem so personable. Can't imagine how you didn't get on with her.
She was lazy and thoughtless, but she's still one of our own.
Alright, let's change the subject.
What is it?
I'll leave you be.
You hungry? We got canid ribs, canid flank, canid snout too. Something I can help you with?
I'm told one of your numbers got missing.
You mean Zoe? Yeah, we were pretty close. Not like her to go loping off.
Alright, well, tell me a little about Zoe.
Zoe was always obsessed with this cereal. Masked Marketeer. A scion of Byzantium turns to banditry and teaches his marauder companions the wisdom of free market economics. Shame she up and vanished when she did. I had a surprise lined up for her. You sound like some type of corporate fixer asking all these questions.
Well, I've got a question for you. Was she acting strange before she disappeared?
Can't say I recall Zoe ever acting strange. Well, except for her habit of writing things down on scraps of paper. She called it journaling, but I think it's just plain odd.
Yeah, that is pretty strange. Can't imagine anyone doing that. What happened on the day Zoe disappeared?
Zoe and I were gonna watch the serials, as is our custom. She never turned up. I looked around, but she was nowhere to be found.
And what was that about surprising Zoe?
The other day, I got my hands on a genuine copy of the latest Masked Marketeer. I was gonna surprise Zoe with it, but she was gone the next day.
Any chance you can lend me that copy of the Masked Marketeer?
Not much of a chance, no. Mind if I ask why you're interested?
Well, I found Zoe. She's living with marauders, dead marauders now. I need something to tempt her back to camp.
Zoe's living with marauders? Yeah, that sounds like the sort of sideways, brat-brained plan Zoe'd come up with. Yeah, could be you're telling the truth. Or maybe you're trying to wheedle me into relinquishing my only copy of the Masked Marketeer. It's a collector's edition after all.
Look at me. Do I look like I give a shit about your show?
Yeah, you're probably right. A true fan would have displayed a gleam in their eye upon hearing the words collector's edition. Here you go, latest copy of the Masked Marketeer. Tell Zoe we're all waiting on her.
Alright, thanks. See you around.
If you're hungry, there's meat turning on the spit outside. If you're bearing illness, find a place to lay your head down and I'll fetch you a poultice. Whatever your troubles with Edgewater, leave them at the gates and be welcomed here. Any questions, dear?
You must be Adelaide.
I have been called that, among other things. Green Thumb, grandmother. the strange old lady who keeps flowers. But yes, Adelaide will do just fine.
Excuse me, Miss McDevitt?
Oh,
Sorry, it's just... You got such pretty trees in here.
Why, thank you. You're Robert's girl, aren't you? I remember when you were but a sprout. Thomas speaks of you often. Are you staying long? You should try some of my tobaccorn tea. I brew it in an old spittoon, but it's been cleaned.
so is this your greenhouse?
Oh dear, the garden belongs to us all. Life is the gift of the universe, and the universe yields its bounty equally, absent of prejudice.
I'm surprised you've managed to grow anything out here.
The soil around the Vale went sour years ago, but I found a way to sweeten it back up. The secret recipe is a little bit of elbow grease, a dash of love, and a heaping pile of special fertilizer.
Well, it looks like you made a home for yourself out here.
A home for anyone who's ever turned their backs on Edgewater. A home for those of us with nowhere left to go and nothing to lose. So, like the spores of the puffball, cast on the wind and alighting on fresh soil, we put down new roots.
And why did you leave your old home?
It is an unpleasant story, dear. But the short of it is that sometimes one wakes up and realizes the place that was once her home for much of her life has changed. The home in which we spent our lives has left us behind, and so we must move on. And that is as much as I will say on the subject.
Well, I'm here because Reed sent me to make peace with you.
Reed Thompson? You here on behalf of that cold-eyed reptile? Let's hear it.
Yeah.
What's Reed's idea of peace, then?
Reed asks you to consider coming back to town. He is willing to make amends.
Make amends? Spare me. Only thing Reed knows how to make is a mess. Like everything else that comes out of Edgewater, that peace offering is canned. I and my own are living just fine out here by ourselves.
Well, Reed asked me to divert your power over to him. He mentioned a geothermal plant.
He would do such a thing. The question is, why would you agree to his plans?
Well, your camp has a power regulator. I needed to repair my ship.
Cannery's got a regulator. You want ship parts, you ought to rip them out of the cannery's guts and leave us be. If you're
I
going
can't
down to
do
the
that.
plant, you should divert power away from Edgewater and toward our end of the grid. Think about it. You'd be liberating an entire town from a lifetime of service to that odious cannery. Seems the sort of thing a hero would do.
A hero to you, maybe.
A hero to the people who matter. To
What?
us. To the ones who come around. To the ones you save. Reed will never understand. He has been too long inebriated on the wine of corporate culture. All he sees is productivity, output, profits.
So you think Reed's just trying to spite you?
You bring power to Reed's town and you'll be killing us. Reed knows it. He's counting on it.
Well, what have you got against the town?
You've seen that miserable excuse for a town with your own lamps. Hollowed out workers laboring their lives away at the cannery, living off whatever scraps Spacer's Choice throws them. You know that's true, don't you, Ms. Holcomb? Your father died of overwork. His heart gave out.
He was tired all the time, sure, but he was old, ma'am, and he raised me all by his lonesome.
Look what they did to this child. Lost her family to the company, and still she defends them.
I don't much like you throwing that in her face to get me on your side.
I'm all right. I ain't so fragile.
That
Well,
was
still.
unkind of me. I'm sorry, dear.
Well, what do you have against people trying to make a living?
It's not much of a living. Every single person in that town has sold themselves to Spacer's Choice. The company owns them. Body, blood, and bones. You've been there. You've seen it. All anyone ever does is toil over a cannery. They give their lives for some heartless corporation, and then they're tossed into a Spacer's Choice brand cemetery.
Well, let's say I help you. What happens to Edgewater?
Life in Edgewater grinds to a halt. The cannery shuts down, workers desert in droves, and our own little camp grows and thrives.
And do you want to tell me what these gold teeth are for?
Haven't you ever seen a novelty paperweight?
You know, your left eye twitches when you're trying to lie.
Whatever absurd accusations you have churning about in your mind, I assure you I have heard them all.
Well, it's just... When I saw them, I immediately was reminded by a guy I heard about. Someone named Eugene. He had gold teeth.
I remember a Eugene. Pleasant enough boy. Whatever happened to him?
I never said anything happened.
I did nothing wrong. The teeth were harvested from a body that went cold long before my tools ever touched it. Gold does not decompose. The teeth had to be removed. And while I am no licensed dentist, I should think I did a fair job of it.
You're the one who stole Eugene's body out of the cemetery. And you've been using decomposing bodies to fortify the soil and help your crops along.
I cannot tell you how refreshing it is to converse with a rational mind. That's exactly right. Rot is necessary for life. A corpse is bursting with the nutrients a young sapling craves. The crops I grow here are natural, nutritious, healthy. My garden does more than fill the bellies of my flock. It keeps them from falling ill.
You seem pretty calm for someone who just admitted to grinding up corpses for fertilizer.
The Vale's barren. Been that way for years. Soil's been sterile about as long as I can remember.
Yeah, but we're talking about people here.
We are talking about organic compounds once inhabited by a sentient mind. A person lasts only until the last synapse burns out, the last brainwave flickers into the void. What remains is a carcass moldering neath the soil. Decomposition is a natural process, essential to new life. All life feeds on other life.
You've been quiet, Bravati. You have an opinion? She's using your friends as fertilizer.
Oh, I don't know. If it was me, I'd be glad to volunteer. Keeping others alive, that'd be a beautiful gift to leave. But none of the folk you used had a say. You didn't ask, ma'am. And what about my dad? I talk to his grave every Saturday. Is he even there?
Robert is just where you left him, dear. He died too long ago. By now, he's naught but a skeleton.
I'm glad I didn't eat before talking to you.
Whatever you say, my dear.
Let's just talk about something else.
I'm listening.
When we first talked, you assumed I'd come to live here.
I am getting old, you know. These two lamps of mine are not as bright as they once were. Or I might have seen you for what you are.
And what's that?
Remains to be seen. Might be the man that saves the Vale. Might be Reed's personal gun hand.
Save the Vale.
People around here lack the strength to effect change. Or they have the strength, but not the will. You seem to have both.
And why are you telling me all this?
A little prattling never hurt anyone, dear. You might even catch a little sense, if you listen close enough. I can't stop you from conducting your business down at the plant. I just want you to know that if you take our power away, you will have brought an end to our way of life.
You could always continue your way of life back in town.
Not under Reed's watch. He and I would come to blows within a day, and he would never tolerate my tending to a garden. This is my home. It will be my home even if Reed cuts our power. Simple as that.
You and Reed obviously have some sort of history.
That's because Reed was my boss. I was the cannery's one and only flavor specialist, you see.
Oh yeah, right.
Remember that limited run of white chocolate saltuna? That was all me.
Yeah, but there's obviously more to it than that.
My son worked in that cannery. When the plague started coming, he was one of the first to fall sick. We had a store of medicine locked away, but Reed refused to treat him. Said my boy didn't deserve treatment. Said the medicine would have been wasted on him. So I buried my boy in the cemetery, gathered my belongings, and left. That's as much of the story as you need to hear.
Sounds like the town turned its back on you.
A fish rots from the head down. I do not blame the town. I blame the leader.
Alright, well, we've talked enough.
Oh, didn't see you there. I was just occupying myself with a little engineering.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Miss Parvati. Hey, you're, what, how are you? Hi. Hello.
Are you, are things safe out here? How are you keeping?
Great, just great. I've been trying to keep stuff running, just like you. Only I'm not so... Wait, they didn't kick you out, did they?
Oh gosh, no, I'm just along with this fella here.
Are you from town? I mean, you don't exactly look like you're from town.
I'm passing through.
Sorry, I just wasn't sure if you were from town or if you were one of us. Something's been chewing at me, you see. Fact is,
Chewing at you?
Well, lying. To everybody here. Camp thinks I'm a mechanical genius, but I couldn't fix a busted chair.
Well, it's never too late to start learning. I could give you a couple pointers.
I'll take all the help I can get. I set my mind to learning the craft of the engineer, you see. I want to make something of myself. You ever heard of the Young Spacer's Guide to Mechanical Engineering? Comes in a set of 3. If I had my hands on one of those data pads, I could teach myself the ins and outs.
Those are good. My dad kept a copy with him when he was working in the cannery.
I know.
Yeah, I know. I
community
mean,
center kept a copy. Should find another one back in town. If you could find me even one of those pads, I'd be greatly obliged.
Alright, well, you mentioned 2 pads. What about the third?
I wish I knew. I wager the town had the full set once upon a time. Where the third's gone, I can't say.
Well, I found 2. So, I guess today is your lucky day, Thomas.
No kidding. Really? Well, which one?
Part 1, found in the community center archives.
Look at that. Building a computing machine out of Spectrum potatoes, a primer. I'm just glad it survived all these years. I appreciate you going through all that trouble. In fact, I put aside something special, on the off chance that somebody'd search out those data pads for me.
Well, hold on, I've got more for you.
Well, don't keep me in suspense.
I found part 2 in the cannery.
Ain't that just ironical? If I'd worked a little longer back at the cannery, I might have found this myself. 2 whole data pads? Be still my beating heart. Oh, almost forgot your payment.
Thanks. I want to ask you something.
What's on your mind?
How long have you lived here?
Couple months. This camp's my home. People you see milling about, they're my family. At least I think of them that way. I owe them my life. Would have died in the wilderness if they hadn't chanced upon me, starving and delirious.
What were you doing out in the wilderness?
We all left the cannery for one reason or another. Me? I was let go. Mostly on account of my incompetence. I mean, I was incompetent. I couldn't even survive on my own. Grace found me, Adelaide took me in, I've been on my feet ever since.
You weren't incompetent. You just didn't fit the cannery. Not like here. This place had a U-shaped hole, and now it doesn't.
You could stay, you know. Here. I'd be happy to... I mean, we could really use... this isn't coming out right. If you want, Adelaide would make a place for you.
Alright, Thomas, I should go.
What I wouldn't do for a Wentworth.
Hello again. I've been sent to find you.
Why? Adelaide wants me back on garden duty or something? Thanks, but I'm not going anywhere. This is where I belong.
Stefan told me about your favorite cereal.
So you tracked me down just to gab about the mass marketeer? I am impressed.
Well, he wanted to watch this with you.
I see what's going on here. I'm being bribed. Well,
Maybe.
It's working. I can't say no to my favorite cereal. I'll take my stuff and head on back, I suppose. Grace is going to be glaring knives at me, so I've got that to look forward to.
Well, you take care.